Casting the news this afternoon, my name is Lwando Cheleka. And now the news in detail. Governance activist Laura Miti has urged President Edgar Lungu to put a stop to the escalating political violence in the country. Ms. Miti says it is clear that PF's strategy is to win an election through violence. She was reacting to Home Affairs Minister presentation of statement in Parliament by Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo's statement in Parliament, where he committed to peaceful forthcoming Bahati by-election after learning a lesson in Cheleka. Njenja Chizu now reports.
Republican President Edgar Lungu and Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo have continued to receive criticism of violence against humanity. This is regardless of all the efforts made by Mr. Kampyongo to convince Zambian Parliament about government's commitment to ending violence. Laura Miti is a governance activist. She believes the Home Affairs Minister's presentation in Parliament was a blackmail of the Zambian people, which is a reaction to what suits the ruling PF government.
You go and pick out a few police stations with police officers without an inquiry. Why haven't we had an open inquiry that tells us who is buying the pangas, who is buying the alcohol, who is paying for the transport? Then we'll know that government is committed to ending violence. Right now they are not committed. They just make these promises. They make it sound like it's a mystery. The violence is not a mystery. It is being carried out by cadres. Right now they are carrying cadres when we are taking them to Bahati. One person like Davis Miller should be fired. Davis Miller sits and talks officially about how he is going to be violent.
I would have been the first one to condemn those hits, those overhits who were brutalized, if indeed they were arrested and charged. But certainly, I felt for them as their leader.
Miti believes President Lungu is investing in funding violence as means of holding on power, describing such an initiative as a threat to democracy with capacity to cause more deaths.
The one who can stop it is the one who is in power. And the person who is in power has just decided that if he ends violence, then he can't get whatever it is that he's getting from it. From what I see, the PF would like the 2021 election to be a violent one because they do not see any other way of winning an election without violence. Otherwise, if the president wanted this violence end, he would end it today and tomorrow. So if Bahati is violent, it is because the president will have allowed it.
Now, Home Affairs Minister superintends over state police and ruling PF youth wings. This conflict of interest has witnessed Zambia police working with ruling cadres to brutalize cadres from opposition political parties. Any attempt by state police to isolate cadres from the ruling side is a risk of employment loss. Njenja Chizu reporting for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
Governance expert David Kapoma says the opposition political parties' alliance must focus on winning the confidence of the people to take over government in 2021. Mr. Kapoma says concentrating on reporting the Patriotic Front government to the International Criminal Court is a waste of campaign time. He says the alliance has less than 2 years to convince the majority Zambians of a better life. And Mr. Kapoma says the dismissal of Cheleka's senior police officers is the worst politically motivated move. Here's a report.
In September 2016, the opposition United Party for National Development indicated they will take the Patriotic Front government to the International Criminal Court following the disputed August 2016 general elections that were marred with serious acts of violence. While this indication was made public, there is no evidence as to whether or not the International Criminal Court did hear and determine this particular case. Recent indications made by the opposition political parties' alliance to the effect that reports of violence, as witnessed in the Cheleka by-elections, will be subject of the International Criminal Court investigations. Will this be a reality backed with tangible evidence? Governance expert David Kapoma, however, says this is an exercise in futility.
When you look at the magnitude of the case that is taken to the ICC, I think it's not the kind of case that you expect that is going to have that much attention from the International Criminal Court. What I would like to advise the opposition alliance to concentrate on is to make sure that if they are really interested in improving the lives of the Zambian people, that is by first of all kicking the Patriotic Front in 2021, then their concentration now should be in them making sure that they go out and campaign. They only have less than 2 years for them to be able to hold the votes and for them to be able to win the elections in 2021. So to think that they are going to start bending their energies on taking the matter to the International Criminal Court, I think that is not something that is necessary at this point. I think it's ill-timed. It's not something that is going to bear fruit.
As regards the dismissal of 4 senior police officers, Mr. Kapoma says the decision was politically motivated.
The dismissal of the officers was extremely unfortunate. In my own judgment and my own wisdom, I don't think that they did anything wrong. They could have been that brutal, but it's not the first time that we are seeing the police being that brutal. So for them to be fired only because they had disciplined the Patriotic Front supporters is something that is quite unfortunate. I would have loved to see that action being taken when that Unza student, Mayor Celeste in Peace, was killed. And if such action was taken, then all of us, I think, would be saying that justice was done. But when you look at what happened in Cheleka, and to actually call for the dismissal of those officers, I think is something that is extremely political, and is something that I think we should not be able to tolerate and entertain.
The opposition political parties alliance has disclosed it will take the Cheleka parliamentary by-election violence case to the International Criminal Court, as they feel that the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND leader's life was put at risk with gunshots and tear gas canisters that were fired. The alliance has further disclosed that it is gathering enough evidence to guarantee them hearing in this case at the International Criminal Court. Mwapek Prime TV News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front PF member of the Central Committee, Kebi Mbewe, says taking President Edgar Lungu to the International Criminal Court over Cheleka violence is unrealistic. Mr. Mbewe, who was a PF campaign manager in the Cheleka poll which saw UPND's Romeo Kangombe emerge victorious, claims even UPND cadres were hacking their opponents. Mr. Mbewe was reacting to the statement by the opposition alliance, who have vowed to drag President Lungu and PF Secretary General Davis Mwila, among others, to the ICC for alleged committing crimes against humanity.
To the Zambian people, I've always insisted to my fellow politicians to be responsible whenever they are dealing with issues that concern the well-being of this nation. To begin with, it's very unfortunate that Mr. Marupi, the whole lot of him, can try to make cheap politics about the violence that was in Cheleka. He wasn't there. I was the campaign manager there. And I think I could be the right person to say all these things. Because to take the president to ICC, to take the Secretary General and the party to ICC and the government, it's unfortunately. Because the violence that was there was a true violence that was brought by the UPND. As I speak now, we have over 82 dockets that were opened against the UPND. So for Mr. Marupi to come and say he has to take Zambia and its government to ICC, I think he is betraying this country. We want to condemn this. We have a lot of issues to deal with in the country. Can we concentrate how we have to develop this country? Can we concentrate how we can look after our brothers and sisters that need necessary things for their lives to be okay? I think for us as PF, that is a non-starter. We had a lot
of the National Assembly, Patrick Matibini, Friday morning ordered Justice Minister Given Lwando to retract his tribal remarks when he stated that he wished he could use Tonga to communicate to Moses Central Member of Parliament, Jack Mwimbu, as to why Cabinet decided to embark on the constitution refinement process amid unresolved dialogue process. The statement angered the leader of opposition. Mr. Lwando was responding to Mr. Mwimbu's question after he gave a ministerial statement indicating that government will in March this year commence the 2 million kwacha with the constitution refinement process, despite ZCID having asked cabinet not to begin the process until the dialogue process is concluded. He said the dialogue process is a failed one and that government will not deny the people of Zambia a people-driven constitution due to political wrangles. Details in this report.
Justice Minister Given Lwando Friday morning announced to Parliament that government will in March this year commence the process of constitution refinements at a total cost of 2 million kwacha, a process expected to be concluded in the June sitting of Parliament. He explained that despite the ZCID having asked Cabinet not to begin the process until after the conclusion of the dialogue process, government cannot deny the people of Zambia a people-driven constitution due to a failed dialogue process and what he termed as political wrangles. It was after this statement that the leader of the opposition and Moses Central Member of Parliament, Jack Mwimbu, asked the minister whether he was insinuating that there would be no dialogue process.
I'm very alarmed by the statement that has been made by the Minister of Justice on the floor of this House, where he has indicated that the dialogue process has been derailed. And as a result, they have embarked on this particular trajectory. Mr. Speaker, I would like him to tell the nation in very clear terms, taking into account that the agenda items on the dialogue process includes the constitutional amendment issues that are supposed to be considered and the public order. Is he telling the nation now that there will never be any dialogue and that these issues will never be considered under the dialogue process?
In his response, the Justice Minister stated that he wished he could use Tonga to explain government's position on the matter, a statement that was perceived as tribal by the Moses Central Member of Parliament and one he was asked to withdraw by the Speaker of the National Assembly.
I would like to put it clearly, and I wish I could speak in Tonga, but I can't in Parliament.
You are being silly now.
The Honourable Minister of Justice to withdraw, because it suggests that there is a problem of communication. I wish to happily withdraw the statement that I made in jest. Sir, I wish I could make it even simpler than I've done now, so that people don't misunderstand and be alarmed by a matter which is so straightforward. I think so.
Members of Parliament later continued to question the Justice Minister on the matter. For Prime Television News, I'm Gloria Mumba in Lusaka.
The Social Sciences Teachers Association of Zambia, SOSTAZ, in Livingstone District has started sensitizing teachers and pupils on the importance that social sciences subjects play academically and in national development. SOSTAZ District Chairperson Sampaya says this is because majority of teachers have not understood much about the subjects, hence embarking on several projects that will impact positively on both teachers and pupils' education. And SOSTAZ District Coordinator Kebo Hantontola says there is need for pupils to venture into social sciences subjects so that they can express themselves on matters of national interest through public speaking. The two were speaking to Prime TV News on the sidelines of the SOSTAZ Pupils Competition in Livingstone on Friday. Here's a report.
These are pupils drawn from primary, junior secondary, as well as senior secondary schools within Livingstone District that have gathered at Linda High School to demonstrate their appreciation of the role that social sciences subjects play academically and in national development. The event is organized by the Social Sciences Teachers Association of Zambia, SOSTAZ, in partnership with the District Educational Board Secretary Deb's office in Livingstone. Sampaya is District SOSTAZ chairperson and shares the motive behind this noble campaign.
We are looking at subjects like civic education, history, RE, geography. Then at primary level we have what we call social studies. And maybe a teacher could have not taught it well, but a fellow pupil presents that lesson the presentation here, you find that in those that are in examination classes, they will appreciate.
The SOSTA's chairperson has further noted the need for social sciences teachers to enhance their understanding in this field in order to help pupils improve their performance in class and society.
When you come into schools, you find that the population of social science teachers, there are so many. Henceforth, we want to bring out to them and encourage them that what we are bringing out over the children, they should also appreciate, so that the performance of our learners, by these presentations, you find they'll be smiling that we've produced better results.
Kebo Haton-Tola is coordinating matters here and says such events must be taken seriously as it promotes national development where pupils are able to raise issues of national importance with confidence through public speaking.
What I can encourage teachers is to be serious training these children because they are the future leaders of our nation. Talent which we are tapping now, we should build it and make it stronger to stand in the public as it were.
From this competition, SOSTAs will pick the best competitors to the provincial competition event in Mazabuka in March, where the top finishers will represent Southern Province at national level. Social science has potential to impart pupils with fundamental concepts of culture, economics and politics that can groom them into productive citizens. Elas Limonya, Livingston.
Save the Girl Child Foundation from India has urged Zambian parents to invest in the education of the girl child to reduce early child marriages and other issues affecting the girl child. Speaking to pupils and parents at Landmark Education Center Community School in Lusaka's Chipata compound, Sheetal Bolite, who is a politician from India, urged mothers to send their pupils to school. A delegation from under Save the Girl Child Foundation gathered at the community school to assess some of the challenges being faced by girls and find attainable solutions. Here's a report.
Early child marriage, teenage pregnancies, defilement, among other challenges have been some of the issues faced by the girl child in the Zambian society, and Save the Girl Child Foundation is an organization that is set up to address some of the challenges faced. A delegation from India, which includes organization founder Ganesh Adnath, gathered at Landmark Education Center Community School in Lusaka's Chipata compound to assess some of the challenges faced in the communities with a goal of offering a lasting solution, with education being at the center.
In almost all the countries in the world, the girls have to face many problems. They have to struggle in order to survive. That is why the Beti Bachao Jan Andolon, which was started before 8 years in India, have now reached in Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan and Arab countries. Thereafter in Zambia now. We can motivate all persons of society to start some activities for girls of Zambia. We intended to invite big well-known social organizations, big corporate hospitals, educational institutions, individuals from all over the world to give concessional medical facilities and concession for taking education to girls of Zambia.
Sheetal Molit, an Indian politician, has urged mothers in the communities to take their children to school.
So, I want to tell you that you are important, you are gracious, and our girl child, they must be saved, they must be nurtured, and they must be educated. There, with the country, why poverty is there? Because we lack in education. Education is the basic problem, and I request all the mothers here, please educate your girl child.
Education gives knowledge, knowledge gives power to understand what is right and wrong. And once a girl understands that, they will not face any problems. So please, all we will emphasize on, educate your girl child and she will make it on her own. She doesn't need anyone.
Keith Siame, who is Mwashibukeni community-based founder, an organization working in partnership with Save the Girl Child Foundation, says the combined effort will bring solutions to some of the girl child issues.
Mwashibukeni community-based organization, we are challenged with these various girls pressing problem and we have nowhere to run to. Therefore, your president has given us a rare opportunity. If you're coming to Zambia.
Also at Kafonka for Prime TV News in Lusaka.
The Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia, Betu's Copperbelt Province Chairperson, Aaron Kunka, has urged the Provincial Education Officer, PEO, to reduce soliciting funds from schools to fund meetings. Mr. Kunka says the practice is draining the little resources stored in the school coffers, thereby making it a challenge on most head teachers that are compelled to comply. Meanwhile, the union's provincial secretary, Justin Mutambo, has appealed to government to consider increasing salaries for teachers because the current inflation that stands at 8.49% makes it difficult for teachers to break even from the current monthly salary.
We just want to appreciate and commend the visit that the permanent secretary had on the Copper Belt. It was a fruitful visit. We just want to urge the officers that are operating, especially on the Copper Belt, to emulate his stance on the way we should be operating as the education fraternity. We want, as a union, specifically to appreciate him for having asked to hold on the contributions that goes towards the sporting activities. This has been a thorn in the flesh on most of the head teachers on the Copper Belt because a lot of money has been going towards the sporting activities. We therefore urge the government to find a better way of funding the sporting activities throughout the country. We also want to further urge even the provincial education officer to also reduce on the demands on the meetings that are going on, because each meeting that is called, there is a contribution that is being asked from the schools. We therefore ask, because these schools are just limping in terms of their operations.
This is Prime Television Media News at 12 hours. For now, we take a break. We'll be right back with international news and sports news. Do stay with us.
Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us. We are back with the news at Best Provider Limited. My name is Curtis. Now, apparently, they continue making the headlines, and this is because of the good quality and affordable music equipment and accessories.
Nimingaza menezi pezeka munsomba osati mafupa ya ng'ombe munsomba.
This is a follow-up, and I'm going to talk to a representative who's going to tell us more about this. Oh my goodness! Look whom I have just bumped into. The music teacher himself.
Kent, me as a teacher, kaboom.
So, you do your shopping here?
Yeah, this is where we get our best musical equipment and accessories. Just look at the drums, the guitars, the keyboards, the microphones, and all the speakers.
And what is your appeal to your fellow musicians out there?
It's not all about the musicians and their studios. It's about the live bands, the clubs, the schools, and all the churches out there. This is Best Provider, where the best is cheaper.
Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why Best Provider has continued making the headlines. It's back to the studio. Bye-bye.
For quality music equipment and accessories, visit Best Provider, your #1 music store. Shop number 74, Freedom Way, Town Center, Lusaka. Give us a call on 0969 560721 or email best2000provider@gmail.com. Best Provider, where the best is cheaper.
Bringing the world together through Dubai. Fly Emirates, fly better.
There's a new crunch in town.
Of course, no one that makes you frown. Just listen to the sound and spread the word around. Yeah, better give us it. Nunca more pasa balance. Then you crunch it down as papas, yeah. Papas. Do the munching, to the crunch. Papas. Push it to a winner, papas, yeah. Papas. Shit down when I win. Papas. Push it to a winner, papas, yeah. Papas. Do the munching, to the crunch. Papas.
Papa's Corn Chips, available now in 3 flavors: tomato, cheese, and barbecue. Only from Yo-Yo Fun Snacks. Member of Tread Kings Group.
Well, good to know that you're still with us. Welcome back. And now in foreign news. Multiple blasts in Nigeria's northeast are opening election day as the President Muhammadu Buhari seeks a second term in Africa's most populous nation. The blast in the Borno state capital of Maiduguri came shortly before polls were to open. Police say it was for security purposes and not an attack. Gunfire also has been heard in parts of Port Harcourt in the restive south, where the military presence is said to be heavier than in past elections. Buhari, in the final address to the nation on Friday, vowed that more than 72 million Nigerians who can vote in this election would be able to go to the polls in peace. But the Boko Haram extremist group, its Islamic State affiliated offshoot, and various agitators across the country have other plans. And now in sports news. Top teams Nkwazi and Green Eagles this weekend lock horns in Week 5 of the Football Association of Zambia Transition League. The two teams share 9 points each on top of the table. Only 6 games will be played in both streams A and B. Zesco United in Ghana will be off the league to attend the continental assignment. Here's a report.
It's back to action in the Football Association of Zambia Transition Super League as it enters Week 5, with Forest Rangers and Lumwana Radiants having opened up the fixtures on Friday afternoon at the Levi Monase Stadium in Ndola. In Stream A, Green Buffaloes will be looking forward to turn their fortunes into wins after their 1-0 loss to Red Arrows in Week 4 as they host Cowboy Warriors at the Edwin Imboela Stadium in Lusaka. Red Arrows, after picking up maximum points against their fellow soldiers Green Buffaloes last weekend, will take to the pitch against the Lusaka Dynamos that is slowly finding its feet after a seemingly rough start to the season. The Bankers Zanaco Football Club, who have not lost a game so far, and are leaders of Stream A, will be looking on banking on the limping Nakambala Leopards that has only picked up 4 points out of the 4 games so far. New Boys Prison Leopards, whose wounds are still fresh after losing to Lusaka Dynamos last weekend, will be in action at the Godfrey Ukachitalu Stadium in Kabwe as they face Kitwe United, who are currently struggling, having picked 3 points out of the 4 games. In Stream B, Power Dynamos, having gotten the bragging rights over the Kitwe Derby last weekend, beating arch rivals in Kana Football Club 2-0, will lock horns with the new team Circuit City, who are doing just fine as newcomers, having recorded 7 points out of the 4 games played. Log leaders of Stream B, Green Eagles, will face the Police in Nkwazi Football Club, with both sides having 9 points apiece in a fierce game that will be more like a fight for who gets command of Position 1 in Stream B. Both Zesco United and Nkana Football Club will be out of action this weekend as they are committed in the CAF Confederations Cup. For Prime TV Sports, I'm Humphrey Monza in Lusaka.
As we end the news, a recap of the headlines. Government says national dialogue a failed project. President Lungu urged to end escalating political violence. Governance expert urges opposition alliance to focus on 2021. In international news, gunfire heard in cities as Nigerians finally go to the polls. In sports news, Nkwazi and Green Eagles in battle of supremacy as FARS League enters Week 5. In case you've missed our news bulletin, you can catch us on our Facebook page, Prime Television Zambia, and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Prime Television Zambia. This has been Lwando Billy Cheleka. Thank you so much for your company. Bye for now.